Hey everyone, I'm Black Jackal Art and welcome to my video. The title of this one's pretty straightforward. I get questions in my TikTok comments from time to time asking about my art process or my Etsy, so I wanted to make a Q&A video that I could direct people to when they have questions. For entertainment purposes, in the background will be a video of me drawing my OC Lilith. So, let's get started. Alright, the first question is asked by my lovely mutual Mad Llama, and they asked, which artist is your biggest inspiration for your style, and when did you discover them? Now I know the question says biggest, but I'm just going to talk about all my favorite artists, or artists that are style inspirations to me, because I've never actually talked about it before on the internet. So I'm just going to list them all, and then if you want to ask in the comments about why I particularly like one artist or another, I'll answer you. So Static Wool, Precations, I don't know how to say their name to be completely honest, Millardy Art, Turtle Brownie, Kid Citrix, Caramel Fraps, Golden Tar Art, Wolfie the Witch, Susitsi Art, oh god, I know I'm definitely mispronouncing that, Tulane, Bottling Sunshine, Milky Tomato, Beef Milk, The Angel Incarnate, Sketches of Shay, BHE or BHE Dudes. It's the same person, they're just different accounts. Mine Miko Mali, Lola Brunetti, Arcane Gold, Yasmin Yeager Art, Shiban Chiffon, Bubo Plague, Dear Lord Hunter, Viperfish, Pony Planet, Umiko-chan Art, Owly Jules, Emily Yenna, Lyra Art, Boramil, and Nudara. There's probably some I'm forgetting, and I definitely mispronounced some of those names, but I'm sorry about that. Also, all of my mutuals are inspirations to me as well. Don't worry, I didn't forget about you all. Some of these artists I've been following for years, and some of them I've found really recently. I would say that as my style has changed throughout my artistic career, artists that I gravitate towards also change. While some artists have hung on, like since the beginning of my career, most of the people I really closely followed when I was younger don't really enamor me in the same way anymore. And I'm sure in like 5 years I may be saying that about some of the ones I mentioned. But I think that's a natural part of the artistic process in my opinion. Even with these artists, I will become really hyperfixated on specific ones for periods of time for whatever reason. Like, because I'm so invested in Dragon Age right now, and because I've been doing more traditional art, I've been rewatching all of Static Wool's sketchbook tours because they draw Dragon Age art a ton. Anyways, I love all of these artists for a plethora of reasons, and I hope this specific question introduced you to some that you may not have known about before. Next, Dragonio, definitely pronouncing that wrong. Dragonio1906 asked, where are you finding ideas for your art and content? So this will sound cliche, but inspiration comes from everywhere. Most of my ideas for art come from movies, shows, video games, books. Essentially anything that I'm able to consume and get lost in will almost certainly give me ideas for what to create. So for example, I'm sure, as I mentioned earlier, and you guys will see in my next sketchbook tour, that I am currently deeply entrenched in Dragon Age Inquisition, and the characters from that are nearly all I've been drawing as of late. So, I guess a more concise answer to where do I find ideas for my art would be media. Just anything that introduces me to new characters or new worlds. In terms of getting ideas for content, I would love to know. That's mostly a joke, but really coming up with ideas for content creation can be really draining sometimes. I don't really struggle with it with YouTube as much just because I don't have a strict posting schedule, so I sort of post whatever I think would be fun. But with TikTok, it can get a little more tiring. Because I post nearly every day of the week, it can be pretty hard to come up with that many ideas. Sometimes those ideas come from trends that I want to follow, or a series that an artist has done that I would want to put my own spin on. Like the most recent series I did where I swapped My Little Pony Generation 1 and Generation 4 colors, I got that idea from seeing people do My Little Pony recolors or redesigns on TikTok. Also, some of the content I make is obviously related to my Etsy shop. I post order packing videos when I can, and I always post on TikTok when I have new things coming out in my Etsy store. I also just keep a running note of ideas for TikTok or YouTube when I come up with them, because sometimes I'll be randomly struck by inspiration at like 2 in the morning. And obviously I'm not going to make a whole TikTok at 2 in the morning, so... Okay, next, Antler Dads asked, where is the most fun to post, and does that align with where I find the most success or not? Obviously this is semi-related to the last question. Currently, the most fun place to post for me is actually YouTube. So I've really enjoyed getting into longer form content. I like writing scripts. I like editing longer form videos. I also feel like because these videos are longer, I can make them higher quality than the ones on TikTok. It's hard to quantify where I have the most success. My YouTube channel has certainly had a ton of growth lately due to my success I've had with posting shorts. Now that I am posting on TikTok again after I left for a few months, my account has slowly been growing there as well, but views on TikTok are pretty hit or miss. Long story short, success doesn't necessarily line up with where I enjoy posting. I think YouTube will be my favorite for a while, even if I only have 10 people watching my videos. And I love all 10 of you. Success with platforms is also something I have been really trying to detach myself from, as it has been harmful for me to hyper-focus on in the past. I used to become really concerned with how many views I was getting, how many followers I had. I would reread negative comments. It was not healthy for me. And because of that, I've tried to focus on where I personally enjoy posting, even if it's only a few people seeing it. Next, one of my mutuals, Royal Garbage, asked, how do you go about creating sticker designs? Like, what is your process from idea to shipping them out? So this is quite a long process, and I'm sure it will be a long and technical answer as well. With most of my sticker designs, they start out in my sketchbook. So I started out as a traditional artist, and it will always be what is most comfortable to me. So I usually like sketching something out before attempting to digitize it, especially with stickers. The quality of the sketch varies. Sometimes it's pretty rough and looks absolutely nothing like the end product, but sometimes I have the whole idea in mind before I sketch. Regardless, once I have that sketch down, I scan it and send it to my iPad where I will digitize it on Procreate. Usually this means cleaning up the line art and doing resizing or recoloring. Essentially anything I need to do is easier on Procreate. I'm not really picky with sizing my stickers, even though I know I should be, so I typically make all of them around a 2000 pixel square. After the sticker is done in Procreate, I make it a transparent PNG, then send it to Silhouette Studio on my computer. I use a Silhouette Cameo machine to cut my stickers, so that's just the program that syncs up to the machine. I then adjust the sticker size and give it an offset. That's just the border around the sticker design. I format the page so that I can fit as many as possible onto one sheet. And then I print that page out, self-laminate it. I use Avery self-adhesive laminate, and send it to my Cameo to cut. Setting the page up to cut correctly is super laborious and really boring in my opinion, but if there are any in-depth questions about that, I'd be happy to answer them because it is confusing. After the stickers are done, I set up a new listing for them on my Etsy store. Again, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, but it's boring. Once the listing is set up, I make it live, and then that's when it shows up for people to purchase. Luckily, Etsy handles everything with shipping, and I have a label printer, so I print all my own shipping labels. I'm just in charge of doing the packaging and sending them off to the post office. It's a long process, and it sounds like a lot of work, but most of it I have down to a routine by now, and a lot of it is muscle memory at this point. Okay, next, these two questions are sort of related, so I will answer them both at the same time. So my friend Snow asked, how long have you been an artist, and what was it like finding your art style? And my mutual Strawberry asked, what helped you improve your art and discover your art style? So I've been an artist since I was about 3 years old. My grandma is a professional artist, and she has been buying me art supplies since I could essentially hold a paintbrush. I think a more genuine answer would be I started seriously doing art when I was around the age of 10 or 11, and when I started out, I essentially only drew My Little Pony art. I would print out pictures of the My Little Pony characters and hold them up to a window and trace them. Because of that, I didn't really form an art style until much later. Once I started drawing humanoids, my style was overwhelmingly anime-centered. I watched a ton of anime when I was a kid, so that is where most of my stylistic influence came from. Later, and I touch on this a little bit in my last video, but finding an art style was a very long and arduous process. When I was younger, I was really struggling with enjoying art. I drew daily, but in my eyes, I just couldn't see that I was improving. Obviously, that wasn't the case, but I was very hard on myself back then. I am a perfectionist, and even now I have to work really hard to curb my tendencies of perfectionism. Unfortunately, because I have experienced so many issues with my self-esteem as an artist, I don't really have any of my old art from before the age of 14. If I didn't like my art, I would throw it away. And when I moved at the start of high school, I threw almost all of my prior art away. It plagues me daily. I don't know what possessed me to throw all of my art away. Long story short, regardless of how much you hate something you draw, do not throw it away. I promise you will want to look back on it. Regardless, my current art style is the result of a years-long process of stealing. Now let me explain. This is going to sound really stupid, but art is like jazz. For context, I played jazz piano all throughout middle school and high school. My jazz director in high school always said that jazz is just plagiarism. And what he meant by that is that nothing creative is ever 100% solely from an individual brain. It is the result of stealing tiny pieces and techniques and ideas from a bunch of different people and combining it to make something new and unique. So when I say my style is the result of a years-long process of stealing, I mean that my current art style is made up of every artist that I've ever liked. I may have liked the way this specific person outlines their art, so I adopted that, or the way this person uses texture in their art, so I adopted that, or the way this person renders or uses color, so I adopted that. Because of this, my art style is completely unique to myself, but it comes from all these different people, and it will continue to change the more I draw. Finally, the last question I got was from Galaxy Croissant 1, and they asked me if I like chickens. It's a very odd question to get on a Q&A video, but yes, I suppose I do like chickens. I like how dumb they are. Like, have you guys ever seen those videos where you can draw a line in the dirt in front of a chicken and it will hypnotize them? They're such strange animals. Anyways, here's the finished product for the drawing. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it's cute. I hope this video was interesting, and I hope I answered everyone's questions validly or fully. Anyway, thank you so much for watching if you made it to this point, and I will see you all in the next video.